County's YouTube page, the Durham Television Network, or you can visit the website. Get involved, it's your county. Durham County government has approximately 43 active advisory boards, referred to as boards and commissions. Citizens of Durham County may volunteer to participate by applying for a vacancy. Interesting citizens should fill out an application and send it to the clerk to the board's office. A description of the boards as well as a list of vacancies can be found on the county's website, or you can also contact the clerk's office at 919-560-0025. One additional announcement that's not published is the medication take back. It is being held on Saturday, April the 27th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Northeast Baptist Church, located at 3204 NC Highway 55 here in Durham. Items that can be discarded are used syringes, prescription medications, over-the-counter medications, inhalers, medication ointments, and any kind of expired medicines. Drop off medication, you can learn about additional community resources as well as drop off those medications. Contact Donna Rosser at 919-560-7765 for additional information. And that concludes the announcements in tonight's agenda.
Thank you so much, Clerk Wallace. Are there any announcements from any of our colleagues on the dais? Commissioner Vice Chair, no. Okay, Commissioner Jacobs and Vice Chair Burns.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to share with the community, because not everybody reads this national publication, but in this month's County News, which goes out to, I think the readership is 40,000 people across the United States, county officials, that are an effort, a project being run out of our tax office. Hacking into History is featured. There's a whole full-page article that says, Bright Ideas, Durham County, North Carolina. Durham County, North Carolina shines light on property deed history of racially restricted covenants. And I just want to applaud James Tabron, who is with our tax administration office, and also Sharon Davis, who is our Register of Deeds, and everyone who's involved with the project. Just want to congratulate them and express all of our gratitude as we celebrate National County Government Month, just for their great leadership that's being recognized nationally for this project. Thank you.
Okay, so this one's taking place in Durham this week. I had to look mine up really quick. I had like 3 and I can't find one right now, so I apologize if I bother the clerk later. Also, I would also like to add on my congratulations to our Register of Deeds office and Mr. Tabron. That's been a labor of love, and I hope you all can Google it and look into it, because there's really some great research about covenant communities and the racism of real estate right here in Durham. But my announcements, North Carolina's Heirs Property Symposium. I don't know how many of you all know about heirs property, but, you know, a lot of times, especially if you're from southeastern North Carolina, even right here in Durham, where I'm from, the only way you can make sure that the people in your family got their property was to pass it down and not necessarily have a deed. And so now here we are 100 years later, and you need 900 people to sign a piece of paper for somebody to get access to property. So the North Carolina Bar Association, in conjunction with the North Carolina Department of Justice and the NAACP, is holding a North Carolina Heirs Property Symposium right here in Durham. It will be Wednesday this week, April 10th, from 9:15 to 4:30 p.m. at the Durham Armory. Again, that's Wednesday, April 10th at 9:15 to 4:30 p.m. at the Durham Armory. And so that is at 212 Foster Street. So if you all have any questions, they will have lawyers and community leaders on hand to answer questions about heirs property property, especially as we seek to pass down wealth. My other one, the county is also partnering with Summit. As many of you all know, the Durham Transit Station is being built, so you're invited to an outreach and information event about the Durham Station Transit Station. Excuse me, they have it written wrong, and that is next Monday, April 15th, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., and it will be at City Hall Plaza. So those are two events that we have going up. I will encourage all minority contractors to please go. We really tried to set a goal here in Durham of making sure that the stuff we build is built by people that are representative of this population. This is an opportunity to meet with Salmon and to also meet with WC Construction to see what opportunities are available for you in both the professional services and the construction services. So those are my two for now. Hope everybody enjoyed the eclipse that none of you actually saw. And now I'll give my time up to the rest of my colleagues.
Thank you. And back to Commissioner Jacobs, because you forgot something.
I just wanted to correct myself because I referred to Mr. Tabron. I mentioned the tax office. He works in the Register of Deeds, so I just want to make sure that I corrected that and to acknowledge the other staff and especially our Sharon for supporting his work. Thank you.
I don't have an announcement. I just did want us to take a moment to introduce a motion. Commissioner Howerton is not able to attend today. I know she was going to try to join virtually, but I know she's at a conference in D.C., so she may not have been able to join, but to offer her an excused absence for today's meeting.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Any
Any opposed? Okay, then Commissioner Howerton is excused unanimously. That now brings us to our minutes. I'll entertain a motion for approval of our March 25th regular session meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Vice Chair Burns, seconded by Commissioner Jacobs. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, minutes are approved 4-0. And now it brings us to our ceremonial items. We have several items to celebrate this evening. The first beginning with the introduction of the new Office of Emergency Services Director. And I see our Assistant County Manager, Dwayne Brinson, already up at the podium to make the introduction for us.
Thank you. Good evening. Apologize in advance. My voice is a little scratchy this evening, not because I'm sick, mainly for those sitting around me. Had a long weekend as a baseball coach, so bear with me through this. I'll keep the mic close. I'm excited tonight to introduce Mr. Mark Lockhart as our new Office of Emergency Services Director. Mr. Lockhart has been selected as the new director. In this role, he will oversee the EMS division, emergency management, fire marshal, and business services units. So the 4 units comprise the Office of Emergency Services. Prior to his arrival here in 2020, where he has served as chief paramedic for those 4 years, Mark was the EMS station chief for the Division of Public Health at the Wisconsin Department of Health Services. And he's a 40-year veteran of fire and EMS service. Prior to that, Mark served Stafford County, Virginia for 3 years as an assistant chief, and then 5 years as county fire and EMS chief. He served for 23 years with Maryland Heights Fire Protection District in St. Louis, Missouri, including 12 years as the chief medical officer, 2 separate stints as the interim chief, and then 3 years as the chief of the district. Mark's earlier career includes working for the Rural Ambulance District, an air medical flight program, a level 1 trauma center, and teaching EMS professionals in the U.S., Mexico, England, and Sweden. Mark has served in leadership positions with the National Association of Emergency Medical Technicians and the International Association of Fire Chiefs, EMS section. He's the recipient of several awards from both organizations, most notably as the 2009 recipient of the James O. Page EMS Achievement Award and a 2012 recipient of the Meritorious Service Medal from IAFC. Mark is a 2013 graduate of the University of Virginia Weldon Cooper Center for Public Service Senior Executive Institute. Please join me in welcoming Director Lockhart.
Thank you, AC and Brinson. I do want to clarify, I started my career when I was 3. Members of the board and Madam Manager, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to continue to serve Durham County in this capacity. It was the honor of a lifetime to be selected as the Chief Paramedic for Durham County EMS, and the last 3.5 years, nearly 4, have just been one blessing after another in working with the team there. I'm particularly fortunate now to be working with not only the emergency medical services team, but our emergency management folks, the fire marshals, and our business operations folks. This is an incredibly talented and dedicated team of folks who just do amazing work day in and day out, and I'm just proud to be associated with them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Director Mark Lockhart, for stepping up in this role and for all of your service to Durham County thus far. I'm really glad that we had amazing talent internally within Durham County that can step up and serve in these type of roles. I'd like to pass on to Commissioner Carter has comments.
Yes, just, what a blessing to Durham County that we have you to step into this position, Mr. Lockhart. Your career is incredible. I've never, it's rare to see someone who has had experience in every single area of the emergency management system. It's just absolutely incredible. And I also have witnessed, your kind heart and your, sort of coaching style of leadership with your current team, and I just know you're going to be wonderful for our great staff, as you said, and also the people of Durham who might need emergency services. And just thank you so much. Welcome to this new position.
Commissioner Jacobs.
I just want to echo Commissioner Carter's comments. I'm so thrilled to see you move into this leadership role with the breadth of experience in virtually every area related to emergency management. I know that people who work under you really appreciate and are going to appreciate the perspective that you bring. And I know just seeing what you have helped support in the short time that you've just been a part of the paramedicine team, all the initiatives that have happened, under your support really means a lot to me personally. So I'm thrilled to see you move up into this position, and I wish you all the best.
Vice Chair Burns.
I just want to, as much as I also want to echo my colleagues' sentiments, I also want to elevate that you're coming into this role at a very critical time, right, in our community, because what we want to do outside of just protect our residents is really be in a position to enhance our resiliency, right, because we are post a pandemic. We do deal with gun violence. We do have mental health issues. So that breadth of experience is really going to come in handy as you seek to work with all of these different parties. And those parties are not just here. Those are going to be our state actors and our federal actors. And Durham is at the epicenter of a lot of activity when it comes to emergency management. I see it every day at work. I could not be prouder. One of the things that I appreciate the most about you, Director Lockhart, let me say it like that now, put a little respect on your name, is, when I talk to a lot of the employees, they always have something nice to say about you. And interestingly enough, they say you have nice things to say about me. So I'm just, I didn't have nothing to do with you getting the job, but I'm happy you got it. but I will say that makes me feel good. People always want somebody that they can stand up with, sit beside, laugh with, and I see that with the employees here. So kudos to whoever brought this young man up, who started when he was 3, and I look forward to seeing the great things that you do. And I just want you to know I feel a lot better calling 911, knowing that I got another superhero that's leading the folks on the other side of that phone. So thank you.
Thank you so much again, Director Lockhart, for all of your service to Durham County and stepping up again into this role. And I know your team is going to be very excited to see you moving up in here, and also excited to see who fills your previous role. But I know that the whole team will make a right decision there as well. And Congratulations. That moves us to our second ceremonial item. We have a proclamation for Second Chance Month, and I will be reading this one. Durham Board of County Commissioners Proclamation Second Chance Month 2024. Whereas, over the last 14 years, the Department of Justice has partnered with state, local, and tribal agencies, as well as national organizations to support hundreds of reentry programs across the country. Yet the demand for effective reentry programs remains high. And whereas Governor Roy Cooper has signed Executive Order 303, making North Carolina the third state to commit to Reentry 2030, a national initiative that aims to dramatically improve reentry success for people exiting prison and those under supervision. And whereas more than 400 Durham County residents return to our community from state and federal prisons, and nearly 6,600 cycle through our local detention facility annually. And whereas Durham County government and its Board of County Commissioners have been supporting reentry and rehabilitation efforts in Durham County for more than 30 years. And whereas effective reentry programs offer the chance for a better life to those who return from correctional facilities or are otherwise justice involved. And whereas it is up to all of us working together to emphasize the importance of these programs and policies that make such a positive and lasting difference, not only to the individuals served, but to the communities in which they return. And whereas Durham County Board of Commissioners joins the effort to highlight the value of local reentry programs and calls upon the community to support their work. The investments we make today through resources we dedicate and the enthusiasm we generate will greatly benefit justice-involved citizens and the overall public safety in Durham County. Now, therefore, I, Nida Alam, Chair, and on behalf of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim April 2024 as Second Chance Month in Durham County and urge all citizens to join in recognizing how important it is to help justice-involved individuals positively transition to become law-abiding and productive members of society. This, the 8th day of April, 2024. And I see we have our amazing Justice Resource Center team here to accept this resolution. When the red light is on.
Okay.
Thanks.
Sorry. Thank you so much for having us, County Manager and Commissioners. We are so excited to be here tonight. As mentioned in the proclamation, each year April is designated by the U.S. Department of Justice and the North Carolina Governor as Second Chance Month. They challenge communities across the country to highlight the challenges and accomplishments of justice-involved individuals and the agencies that support them. Second Chance Month gives us the opportunity to acknowledge those individuals who have overcome so many obstacles, including incarceration, community supervision, unemployment, homelessness, separation from family, and the list goes on and on. But through it all, they have managed to find some level of success. In addition, we also recognize the work of so many community organizations and agencies that support our clients day in and day out. We appreciate the continuous support of this board and the county manager's office in the work that we do, recognizing that Second Chances for us is not simply the month of April, but it's in everything that we do each and every day. So we appreciate the support that we receive from the county to help us do the work that we do in changing the lives of these individuals. So as we come today, we also want to bring forth some activities and a calendar that we do each year in April, because we do have a calendar of events that we participate in that our agency hosts. In addition, we partner with other community agencies to host activities during the Second Chance Month. So I'll step back and allow my Assistant Director, Robin Heath, to share the calendar of events. And I also have with me our local Reentry Council Coordinator, Ontario Joyner.
Good evening, Commissioners and County Managers. JSD this year has taken on a pretty exciting and fun-filled month of events for Second Chance Month. We have done several in-house events. Last week, we had some fun doing a Spirit Week where our theme was all about unmasking reentry and the challenges that come with it. This week, we are working on collecting backpacks, and we use those frequently for people coming out of incarceration. They come to the center, and we're giving them everything from hygiene kits to underclothing and clothes or shoes. And frequently, they leave our building with a grocery bag. Backpacks that we collect, or, tote bags. We all have those bags from various conferences we've been to, right? Are so much better, especially if they're getting on the bus with them, to take on. And frequently, we see them come back with the backpacks or the bags, as they start trying to accomplish the many tasks they have after incarceration. Next week, we will be hosting a clothing drive to replenish our clothing closet. We have had a large amount of releases from the county jail that especially, prison too, but that have kind of depleted many of our items. We are in much need of everyday work clothes or everyday wear clothes, especially men's, jeans, T-shirts, shoes, belts. They don't have to be brand new. Some wear and tear on them is fine. It's very helpful for people to have things that fit when they get out. And finally, I want to remind everyone about the reentry assimilation that we're hosting on the 16th from 8:30 to 12. It is not too late to RSVP if you have not, and we look forward to sharing some of the journey that our clients go through on a regular basis with many of you. Thank you.
Do we have Mr. Ontario? Did you have any comments you want to add?
Good evening. I just really want to mirror Director Parker and sincerely say thank you. Thank you to county leadership. Thank you to the overall county for displaying that unwavering support to the Justice Services Department, specifically the local reentry council. The support that you guys display and give us makes it really easy for us to be impactful to the justice involved community here in Durham. So I sincerely, as a coordinator, thank you, and we look forward to seeing everyone on the 16th at the reentry simulation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director Roshana, Mrs. Heath, Mr. Ontario. I know I get to serve on the Justice Resources Board. We're working through new names for that too with the first language, but just being able to see firsthand the work that goes into providing services to our justice-involved residents is really inspiring because of the amount of love and care that is in your office. And I'm really glad when Director Parker stepped up into this role that I think the whole board knew and all of our management knew that the love that Gudrun had for this role and for our justice-involved residents wasn't going to be lost. And that with you, that it continues to grow, and the importance of not just, our justice-involved residents, but also their families, and that level of care that we see from your office in making sure, especially like the kids of justice-involved residents are also taken care of and have the support that they need, and connecting them to county resources wherever possible, and also finding new resources with community partnerships to provide our residents as much as possible. Thank you for all of your service. I will ask, please, Vice Chair Burns.
Try to make mine really quick. One, as always, I heart y'all. Y'all do some really great work. Send a lot of people to y'all, get my nails done, get my hair done, not in peace. They say, when Commissioner Burns, I just got out. I got somebody for you. Her name is Director Parker. So I used to send them to Gudrun. Now I can send them to you. So I'm super excited about that. But I want to throw out two things. For the audience, for the viewing public, I know I said this last year, and I'm going to keep sounding like a broken record. More than 95% of folks are coming home. I need that to settle into folks' minds. 95% of folks are coming home. So we can sit here and we can pretend like and have this really romanticized idea about our incarcerated neighbors like they are all serving death row and that they are all lifers, and that is just not it. So we need to be in a position and a posture to be able to welcome them back home, especially after they paid their debt to society. I think we sit in a very unique position here in the city and in the county where the city said we will not take that into consideration. Somebody get my years right. I know I'm going to get them wrong. I think in 2011, they didn't want to ban the box. 2012 was about when the county decided to ban the box, and we've had success there, right? In the United States, 1 out of every 3 people has some form of criminal record. That is 33% of the folks. So I was looking this week, J.P. Morgan Chase did an exhibit of all the state legislation for Second Chance Act and ban the box, whether it passed or hadn't passed, and they made these huge statues, and it was just the paper. And I thought to myself, I was like, well, this is really nice, like to see, this exhibit, but is it performative? And then I looked, and guess what? J.P. Morgan Chase in 2023, they looked at their records. They have 3,300 people on payroll that are justice involved, that were previously justice involved. That is J.P. Morgan Chase, y'all. That is the bank. So if county government can do it and one of the biggest banks in the world can do it, I'm just saying I don't see why we all can't do it. Like, we have 2 stellar examples here. There's a good case study that the Center for the Southern Poverty Law Center did a case study for Durham about how successful we've made it. J.P. Morgan Chase has done one. So please make sure you're out there hiring somebody, because people actually do want to work. They want to work. They want to do well. They want to be able to provide for their families. But I also want to throw out, are we going to be doing a poster about this drive? If it is one already, it is okay. Because I think that that's really important, because people, and we do this Dress for Successful Women, but men want to look nice at their job interviews as well. And while I'm thinking about a drive, I didn't do this, but I also want to give a shout out to Welcome Back Baby. Deborah, I think y'all put it up today that Welcome Back Baby, they're doing a drive every month for something. Well, they won the Triangle Community Partner Volunteer Award like today or yesterday. So clearly we know how to do a drive in Durham. Can we give the same that we give the Welcome Back Baby? Can we make sure we give that to our Justice Resource Center so that folks can walk in to these job interviews with some dignity? Thank you.
Thank you. And we do have the backpack drive on the home screen for the county, and we will also leave copies of the calendar with the clerk.
Commissioner Jacobs, then Commissioner Carter.
Yes, I just wanted to thank all of you and all of your staff for the incredible work that everyone does every day. 80-plus people who are committed to helping to keep people out of our criminal justice system and support people reentering our community. I'm so proud of our Justice Services Department and our center, which is almost completely locally funded, but all of the groundbreaking work you've been doing for decades. And just to follow up on the details, Robin, that you were talking about, I mean, we all have resources in our homes, things that we can contribute. Where should people bring the backpacks, just for people who are listening? Where should they bring the donations, and what is the time frame involved? If you could just
We are collecting backpacks this week at the Justice Services Department located at 326 East Main Street. But if people want to donate at any point past this week or past Second Chance Month, all they have to do is come into our office and we will collect those. We have a clothing closet that we replenish year round. So we're focused on it this month because of Second Chance, but we take them anytime. We're open Monday through Thursday, 8:30 until 8:30, and then on Fridays from 8:30 until 5 o'clock. So if they want to just drop by at any point, we'll have a staff person that will assist them with that donation.
Great. I mean, this is a way I think all of us can help people really feel like they're making a fresh start. And it's such a simple thing that we can all help to do. And also I want to emphasize that not only do we have Ban the Box in Durham County, but we also have transitional job placement program where we are also employing people who are transitioning back into the community. And if any employers who want to learn more about how to be a part of that please reach out to the folks who are with us here tonight. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Carter?
Well, wonderful comments have been made by my colleagues, and I just want to concur with them in their expression of admiration and appreciation for your work. It really is critical. The work that you do enables us to fulfill our commitment to giving residents a fair shot at a second chance and a fair shot at building a happy, successful life that everyone deserves. And you really help connect residents to the needs that they have when they reenter society, all the social determinants of health. And we just marvel at your work and your success and are so very grateful for the fact that you're helping not only the individual, but also you're helping us keep our communities safer, stronger, and more just. Thank you.
Thank you so much again to our entire Justice Resources Department and team. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
That moves us to our third item for the evening, which is April Fair Housing Month proclamation. I believe Commissioner Carter is reading this one.
I believe I am. Thank you. Durham Board of County Commissioners Proclamation Fair Housing Month 2024. Whereas the Fair Housing Act, enacted on April 11th, 1968, enshrined into federal law the goal of eliminating racial segregation and ending housing discrimination in the United States. And whereas the Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination in housing based on race, color, religion, sex, familial status, national origin, and disability, and commits recipients of federal funding to affirmatively further fair housing in their communities. And whereas this year marks the commemoration of the 56th anniversary of the passage of the Fair Housing Act, the landmark civil rights law signed by President Lyndon B. Johnson. And whereas more than 50 years after the passage of the act, making discrimination in housing transitions unlawful, housing injustice persists as many communities remain segregated and the need to protect those vulnerable to inequities continues. And whereas Durham County is committed to the mission and intent of Congress to provide fair and equal housing opportunities for all. And whereas our social fabric, the economy, health, and environment are strengthened in diverse, inclusive communities. And whereas acts of housing discrimination and barriers to equal housing opportunity are unacceptable to a common sense of decency and fairness. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Nitha Alam, Chair of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, and on behalf of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim April 2043 as Fair Housing Month in Durham County, North Carolina. Durham is an inclusive community committed to fair housing and to promoting appropriate activities by private and public entities to provide and advocate for equal housing opportunities for all residents and prospective residents of Durham County this 8th day of April 2024.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Carter. And we have the Durham Regional Association of Realtors President, Ms. Grace Jones, here to receive this proclamation.
Good evening, County Commissioners, County Manager. We too are proclaiming it to be Fair Housing Month, and we appreciate your proclamation. We are working very hard and are very committed to making sure that Durham and the surrounding area has diverse housing for everyone. We would like to not just proclaim it to be Fair Housing Month. We are dedicated to that all year long, and we would like to partner with you to be dedicated to it all year long. Housing is a basic need, and in my opinion, a basic right. Of course, we have luxury housing, luxury apartments, rentals, home ownership. We feel like Durham needs a little more diversity in home ownership, as I'm sure most of our residents do, and we are committed to that. First-time home buyers are a very important part of our structure, and we want to make sure not only can people thrive, but they can also survive. And this is a way that we see people gaining generational wealth. It is a way for young people to get a great start in life and to collect equity. And Durham is a great place for people to get that equity. And we would appreciate the partnership with Durham County Commissioners and Durham County as a whole. When you have things coming to you that you need an expert opinion on with the housing market, we volunteer.
Thank you so much, President Jones, for all of your work and service with addressing fair housing here in Durham County, and as well as the region, your partnerships with the different regional partners. It really makes an impact here in Durham County. I want to see if we have comments from our. Start with Vice Chair Burns.
I'm not going to do this all night, I promise. One, we gladly accept. So let me say that. So thank you so much. I do think that there's some things we want to do. I think before Dwayne ascended to Assistant County Manager, one of the things that he was so gracious to bring to us during a work session was a presentation from the School of Government about the bias in the appraisal process. And then at the same time, we had somebody to come from the realtors to talk about, or I think it was, one night we had somebody to come and they said that this was bias training that they were working on. Well, now what happened last year, in 2023, Kamala Harris made an announcement, Joe Biden did an executive order that anybody seeking federal funds or to do any federal appraisals for HUD will have to go to anti-bias training so that we can stop some of what we're seeing in the appraisal process. And I know that you all were, I think, trying to work on a partnership, on apprenticeship with appraisers last year. And so I would love to know how that was going. But before we do that, can we just give it up for Grace Jones? She is the president, but if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the first African-American woman to be elected president of our area regional of realtors. Am I correct?
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hasn't even been a year on the job and you already want to partner with us. But is that something that you all are still doing, trying to work with the appraisers around town and making sure that they know they need to do some anti-bias training before they, come into our homes and say they worth 40% less?
That actually is a statewide initiative,
right.
And we are headed to Raleigh in June for Legislative Week. We are headed to D.C. in May for Legislative Week, and that is something, this is just one of the things that needs to be worked on, just one little piece of the puzzle. But there are many pieces that need some work. Oftentimes, the Realtors Association is not sought after when decisions are made, and there are hundreds of us that are experts that would love to partner with the county and the city to make home ownership more of a reality. Not just for affordable housing, for attainable housing. I think there's a big difference when it comes to affordable and attainable, and I think it's one that a lot of people don't understand, how much money it actually costs to actually get a contract through in Durham right now. It's expensive to be a popular place.
Thank you. Commissioner Jacobs?
Yes, thank you so much for being here tonight for this proclamation and also for your words. Very timely tomorrow, we have a joint city-county planning committee meeting and discussion. I think we're supposed to get an update on next steps about creating a comprehensive housing plan and task force, and I will be there tomorrow, and I will make sure to raise the opportunity for you or somebody from the Realtors Association to be at the table and a part of that planning process. So thank you.
We would love that. Thank you.
Commissioner Carter?
I would just add, don't hesitate to reach out to us as individual commissioners, local policymakers, or as a whole group with any specific ideas you have for policies that we might have the authority to enact or to work on, programs, investments, anything you think that we're not doing that we could be doing, or in ways that we could partner, specific ways we could partner. Just please let us know.
Thank you.
Thank you so much again. Now we have our fourth ceremony item, the proclamation for Child Abuse Prevention Month, April 2024, and Commissioner Jacobs will read this one.
Durham Board of County Commissioners Proclamation, Child Abuse Prevention Month 2024. Whereas to recognize this month by dedicating ourselves to the task of improving the quality of life for all children and families, and whereas protective factors are conditions that reduce or eliminate the long-lasting consequences for victims of abuse, and whereas communities must make every effort to promote programs and activities that create strong and thriving children and families, and whereas as citizens of Durham County, we acknowledge that we must work together as a community to increase the awareness about child maltreatment and contribute to promote the social and economic well-being of children and families to live in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment. And whereas effective child abuse prevention activities work because of meaningful partnerships between individuals, child organizations, and government agencies that bring about community-based solutions. And whereas Durham County received 3,181 reports and accepted 1,518 reports of suspected child abuse and neglect during fiscal year 2022 to June 2023. And whereas child abuse remains a serious problem in our community, affecting our most vulnerable population of children, and whereas we must continue to make every effort to combat child abuse and neglect by promoting programs that enhance strong and thriving children, and whereas prevention and awareness remain the best defense for our community in fighting the battle of child abuse and neglect. Now, therefore, I, Nida Alam, Chair, and on behalf of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim April 2024 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Durham County and call upon all citizens, community agencies, faith-based groups, and medical facilities to join with the Department of Social Services to increase its participation in our efforts to prevent child maltreatment and strengthen the communities in which we live this 8th day of April 2024. And I want to welcome our DSS Director, Maggie Savetichnian, our Deputy Director, Val D'Ambreville, who is also over our Adult and Aging Services and Child and Family Services, and our our Assistant Director, Jovetta Whitfield, for Child and Family Services. Thank you.
I was over here practicing Director Savechnian's name.
I'm sorry.
No, but it's good because
yes,
I know in my head though I got it right. Director Savechnian.
Because it was actually not spelled correctly on the resource for our agenda. So, yeah.
Okay, now it's on. Okay, thank you very much, Board of County Commissioners and the County Manager. This is a very important month for us at DSS for a lot of reasons. A lot of the work that we do goes into helping families and children to remain safe in their homes and in their community. I want to start off, though, by talking about what happened Friday. Friday, I went out with one of my CPS workers, and he had worked with us for several years, and then he left and he came back. And I went into a home with him where we are working to keep the children safely in that home with the parents. We stayed there for an hour, and we talked to the family, and we made a plan with the family. And I think sometimes we lose sight of that. We lose sight that our staff at DSS tries everything that they can do to keep these families together and to keep the children in the home safe. I was so proud of that man. I walked out and I thought, if I could have 10 of these, 10 CPS workers like this. And then I went out and I did an APS visit and the same thing. So I want to say to my staff, you all do tremendous work every day. I could not do the work that you do every day. I did it Friday, and it took me all weekend to be able to just know the amount of feeling and compassion and work that you pour into our families every day to keep children safe in the home. And so as we talk about child abuse, we shouldn't be talking about child abuse prevention in 2024. And it is not just our problem to solve. As my previous directors talked about, we have families that are involved in the criminal justice system. That adds stress. We have families that do not have stable housing. That adds stress. Child abuse can be prevented. We all have a role in preventing that. The federal government, the state of North Carolina, and Durham County, and the Department of Social Services in Durham. But we all have a role, and we can do it. So one of the themes this year is talking about moving from the challenge to the change. So I stood before you about a year ago, next week, introducing myself as director. In this last year, I have learned Durham, not nearly as much as all of you, please know that, I'm not saying that, but I have started to learn. I have met with families, I have met with the citizens here, and I've met with my staff. And we do have a challenge in the child welfare system nationwide. It is not a Durham issue. It is not a North Carolina issue. The child welfare system in this country is broken. It is fractured in different parts. But we keep focusing on that challenge, and we don't focus on the change. And the change is to make sure that we do everything that we can to prevent children from having to be removed. We do everything that we can to prevent a child from being abused in the very first place. And we can do that. The resources are there. The people are there. We just have to stop focusing on that it's a challenge, and we have to focus on that there is an ability to change it. And we can do that. We just all have to do it together. It is not a DSS problem alone. If it is, it would have been fixed a long time ago. It is a community problem, and we can fix it. So to me, there's light at the end of this tunnel because our cases are going down. We are able to keep more children in the home safely. We are able to prevent, as the proclamation said, several thousand reports from coming in. But I ask you as the community, please help us and support us because these families deserve it. And the children deserve to be safe. But the parents also deserve to be the parents that they want to be, and they want to be good parents. We just have to give them the opportunity to do that and the resources to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Svechnian. Did any of your team members want to provide comments as well?
First, Valerie D'Amberville, I'm fairly new here, so I want to say thank you to the commissioners for your support for the department. But I know we started off with some data, right? But behind every data, there's a story. And I want to tell you all, I've been in child welfare for a while now, over 10 years. It's not a lot, but, I'll call it for a while now. When it comes to child welfare, the cases that we're getting now, they might be less, like Maggie stated, but the severity is more, the allegation is more, the abuse and the neglect is more, right? And the challenge that we come across working with these families is the lack of support. Once again, as a community, we have to come together. We go out to a home, speaking to mom or speaking to dad. Dad just came out of prison. I want to be a good dad for my child. I want to be a good father. However, he's having a hard time finding a job, right? Or mom's having issues with housing. So those are the challenges that child welfare as a whole, and it's not just here. If you look at several other states, they're having the same challenges. The cases are less, but the allegation is more severe, and the lack of support and services to get those families where they need to be is far in between. Sometimes we have families that have having to travel to different counties, especially around substance abuse, to get the service that they need. So what we're asking is for all of us as a community to truly come together and see what we could do to really address this issue. Because the families we work with, they want to be good moms, they want to be good dad, they want to be there for their family. We want to support them. But the barrier we have is the lack of services. But I'm new here, and I see how supportive the community has been to social services. And we're looking forward to some of the changes, unlike the challenges, to some of the changes that we're going to make for our community. I want to say thank you, and I'm really looking forward to those changes. I don't know if Ms. Javetta want to say a word. She said no, but she's walking up, so that's good.
Good evening, county commissioners and county manager. So I don't have much to say because I don't have a voice, but I do want to, again, as always, each year, thank you for your support and also supporting the staff and helping us to get information out about what child welfare does, the prevention services that we are trying to implement, which is that's the change that's needed. That's the change that's needed is more prevention services. So looking at Department of Social Services not as a reactionary service, but a prevention services. And that's what we are shifting to do and trying to look at our internal resources to try to restructure to provide more prevention services. So again, I thank you for your support.
Thank you so much to your entire team, and thank you so much for the emphasis on the stories and the children behind these stories and numbers that we constantly see and hear, because it can be very often that, we all get destigmatized and just start looking at everything as if it's numbers, but reminding us and the public about the children that are behind all of these data points is so, so vital. It's vital for us as commissioners in our policy making. It's vital for community partners who are stepping up to also support. And also thank you to your entire team and department of your social workers, who I know are very exhausted and overworked team members. Just thank you to all of them for every single day that they come in and they take home this work with them, which I know is very heavy. And then thank you to all of the community partners as well who work and partner with DSS and different ways of that prevention. Pass it to our colleagues. Commissioner Carter.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. I know we can't get to this tonight, but I just really appreciate the fact that, we're having this resolution, and really I'm hearing your message, Director Maggie, about moving from the challenge to the change, and how we have to have a primary prevention ecosystem that's really robust. And I would be interested in knowing more about that. Like, what are we missing? If you know, and what could we do, to invest differently or invest more or whatever we need to be doing to make the change that you're talking about. Because I know that's what we all want, to figure out this family-centered prevention practices and policies. One was brought forward to us recently by the Safety and Wellness Task Force, and it was related to peer support for mothers, fathers, who I guess DSS is supporting because there has been an allegation of abuse, neglect. And so I, thought that one seemed like it was intriguing to me, and it seemed like that might be something we could do and it might be helpful. So you don't have to really respond to that now, but I would be interested in knowing more about that and any others that you think of in the future and how we can better support you in your work.
Absolutely. And I will say I came from a state where we were very big on peer support, certified peer support. So I am a very big proponent of that. I think that is truly where it's at. People don't want to hear from people that have not been there, and I understand that. And they should hear from people that have been there and gotten through it and succeeded. And so I'm a huge proponent of that. I think we need more of that. I think, and just to say that two things that I think we can do as a community, the housing situation we have to figure out. People have got to stop trying to figure out if they're going to eat, if they're going to buy medication for someone in the house, or if they're going to be able to pay rent. Those are stress factors. And the third is just services. We need, during COVID, it took out a lot of our behavioral health services. We have to get those back. And telehealth is great, but for families, you need to be in the home. You need to be working those services in the home. So anytime that we can bring providers in and offer those services, we're going to be doing a good thing for our families.
Please let us know how we can make those changes.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you for raising that, Commissioner Carter, because in addition to that, I know that we just officially are beginning the launch of our pilot for our guaranteed income program. And our Chief of Staff, Shannon, has been taking the lead on that, but that's another way that we can provide resources to our families that need it the most, that can prevent that family separation piece. And I'm sure there's already conversations happening, but how we can connect our families that are touching the DSS system, our Justice Services Department, into that program and the application process so they can receive that guaranteed pilot. And we can also measure, hopefully, how that keeps families together. I'm really glad you raised that, Commissioner Carter. Commissioner Jacobs?
Thank you so much to all of you. And I have to lift up an example of some of the creativity and collaboration that is happening with Roshana Parker sitting here. When Maggie first came and was, looking for, especially court-ordered, a lot of times there are court-ordered services and programs that parents are being required to complete. And obviously, if we don't have those programs available, that's a barrier to families being able to stay intact. Maggie reached out to Roshana and asked about the programs that are being run directly out of our Justice Resource Center for Cognitive Behavioral Therapy. And they created an agreement. And now we are being able to provide, thanks to this collaboration, as a new source of resources. So I just want to lift that up because I think it's amazing that you all did that together, and it just makes me think, as we're sitting here, about what other opportunities there may be within other departments when we think about the resources that are available that often people don't even know about. So whether it's cooperative extension or the library, public health, but we so for us to even look further within as well. So, but thank you all so much for the change that you all are leading.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, the entire DSS team. Now that brings us, we have 2 more resolutions, and Vice Chair Burns is going to be reading both of them, but with the first one being proclamation for the Omega Zeta chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity, Inc., 50th anniversary at Duke University. And quick shout out that we have a special guest accepting this one, of Justice Mike Morgan. Thank you for joining us. Vice Chair Burns will lead us.
So I'm happy she did it, and I would respectfully request, I'm sure Ms. Rouse is nice, whoever she is, we have it in our agenda that Michelle Rouse was bringing forth this one. Please can we update the agenda and say that Justice Mike Morgan. And while I am going to get to the proclamation, Justice Morgan, this is, I think, one of the first times you've been in our chambers. So if you will allow me, for those of you all who do not know this man, allow me to reintroduce him. This is Justice Mike Morgan, a man who came to North Carolina from Washington, D.C., integrated his elementary school at the age of 8 years old. He was an 8-year-old as a 5th grader. Graduated at the age of 16, was the first African-American drum major at his school. Now, please make sure I don't get any of this wrong because I'm looking at you. Was at the North Carolina Attorney General's office for about a decade until 1989 when he went on to be on the administrative offices of the courts. He was later put on the Wake County District Court, if I'm not mistaken, by then Governor Jim Hunt. You later went on to Superior Court where you were re-elected 2 more times, and then you went on to become an associate justice on the North Carolina Supreme Court. You are the only judge in the state of North Carolina who has sat on 4 different courts as a jurist. Sir, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Now I'll read that little proclamation. Oh, he just ran for governor, in the case we didn't see. But clearly these Omegas make wonderful men. So let me start off with this proclamation about the Omega Zeta Semi-Centennial Celebration, 50 Years of Excellence at Duke University 2023. That's what it says on here. Whereas on April 12, 1974, signaled the arrival of the first Black Greek student organization, the Omega Zeta chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. And whereas Omega Zeta chapter continues to demonstrate their commitments to their four cardinal principles: manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift, and their motto, friendship is essential to the soul. And whereas the arrival of Omega Zeta chapter signaled a new day in Black student life on campus that welcomed Black students only 11 years before. And whereas that at Duke University, Black Greek fraternities would be allowed, much less be successful on a campus that was generally unaccustomed to the Black experience. And whereas the Omega Zeta chapter remains a strong and viable part of the Duke University. Now, therefore, I, Netta Lom, Chair, and on behalf of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, do hereby recognize Omega Zeta Semi-Centennial Celebration, 50 Years of Excellence at Duke University in Durham County, this the 8th day of April 2024. Push the red button.
To this august body, the Durham County Board of County Commissioners, thank you so much for this recognition that you are extending to Omega Zeta chapter of Omega Psi Phi fraternity located at Duke University on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the establishment of this body. Commissioner Burns, thank you so much for making me sound better than I deserve. I have a biographer now. Thank you so much for knowing so much about me and being willing to take your precious time and talent to recount that for this esteemed body, the distinguished staff, citizens, and guests. For the record, my name is Michael Morgan, and I am a charter member of Omega Zeta chapter of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. It happens that on this 50th anniversary that the date and the day of the week align in that it was on Friday, April 12th, 1974, that 13 of us Black Duke students decided to come together and with the good graces of Duke University and the President Terry Sanford saw fit to allow us to be pioneers and to establish the first Black Greek letter organization on Duke University's campus. It was indeed quite an occasion. There was wonderment and astoundment among those at the university at the time to try to understand why it was that the fraternities and sororities that were there just somehow did not seem to fit what we were trying to establish there at Duke University. But there were those voices in the wider Durham County community that spoke to a very open Duke University administration at a time when there was change going on, not only in Durham County, not only in North Carolina, but indeed it was sweeping the nation. And it was timely, therefore, for Duke University to show how progressive it was in terms of seeing fit to allow this Black Greek letter organization to be established. There were 13 of us. We were only 18 years of age, and little would we have been able to predict that some 50 years later that a body as distinguished as this one would recognize us for what we deemed was just having some moxie, some would say chutzpah, and I think the common vernacular now would be the swag, to go forward and feel as though it was timely for such an organization to be established. We were happy knowing that we were the first, and knowing that there would be those other organizations known as the Divine Nine collectively that would come after us, and some 50 years later would contribute so mightily to the Duke University community as well as the city of Durham and indeed the county of Durham in terms of being good citizens on the campus as well as outside the campus. So I'm pleased to accept this honor. I am humbled to receive it on behalf of the dozens upon dozens upon dozens of my fraternity brothers that have come through Omega Zeta chapter of Omega Psi Phi fraternity there at Duke University. The university is establishing the 50th anniversary commemoration and celebration this third weekend of April, and all 11 of us surviving members of the original 13 are coming back, and we're so pleased to come back to Durham. Personally speaking, it is a joy to be back in Durham for so many reasons. But I humbly accept this on behalf of Omega Zeta chapter of Omega Psi Phi fraternity, and I thank the Durham board for allowing me to come and to share this experience with those that are remote, as well as those in the body today here in the halls. And I thank you for this privilege and this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Justice Morgan, for joining us to receive this proclamation, but your service and work to North Carolina, as well as dating all the way back to making history with the formation of this fraternity chapter. I feel like we also need to add a paragraph to the proclamation that on this day, April 8th, Justice Morgan declared that Durham County has swag. Thank you so much again, and I'm really grateful to just everything you've done for our state. As mentioning again, I'll pass it to my colleagues for comments as well. Commissioner Carter?
Well, I just will quickly say that I did watch the presentation of this resolution at the City Council meeting, and you had some more of your brothers there that night. That was fun to see, but we're so glad you're here with us, Justice Morgan. And just really want to acknowledge the 50 years of important impact that you and your brothers have made on Black life on the campus of Duke University, and in a more widespread way throughout our community, the state, all places where they live. I know it's made a big difference.
Well, thank you, Justice Morgan. It really is an honor to have you here with us tonight. And also presenting this very important proclamation in this historic moment. So I'm grateful that you're here with us. I came to the Duke campus just 5 years after this, and I know what a minority Black students were on the Duke campus, and how important this must have been. It's amazing what you all did at that time. A small group, and having the foresight, even as an 18-year-old, to know how important it was, and this would be for students to come as a source of strength and belonging, community that I know has just grown. And of course, the Duke campus looks very different than it was 50 years ago, but it really cannot be underestimated what a minority Black students were on the campus at that time and how important this really was. So thank you.
Only thing I want to throw in is if you want to know a little bit more, I'm not the biographer, but there's a lot that you have done within Omega Psi Phi as well, sir. So it wasn't just about charting this. This has been a lifelong journey for you, and I want you to know that, like, for the young men who are behind you, we see it in this community. We see who's volunteering in our schools. It's the young men in those chapters. We see who's at the food bank. It's the young men in those chapters. I also want to throw out, because I will be in trouble if I don't do this, it's not only your 50th anniversary, and I'm going to mess it up. Beta Phi, which is Durham, the city of Durham's Omega Psi Phi chapter, this is their 100th. So for 100 years and 50 years, respectively, we've had men in purple and gold just keeping us straight. I think one that sat in that very seat over there, Lowell Seiler, our former county attorney, who the lobby across the hall is named, is in his namesake. So please know that, the sacrifice, because I can imagine it wasn't easy back then. The sacrifice 50 years ago has given us some really great men in this community who still continue to give us something to look up to. And we just thank you for that. And thank you for all the, a leader isn't a leader until he's built another leader. Sir, you're a leader, and we see those young men everywhere. So thank you.
Thank you so much again, Justice Morgan, for joining us and spending the evening with us, and accepting this resolution, and for all of your service to North Carolina and Durham especially.
It is an honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And now our final proclamation for the evening is the proclamation for Black Maternal Health Week, and Vice Chair Burns will lead this one as well.
Durham Board of County Commissioners Proclamation, Black Maternal Health Week 2024. Whereas the maternal mortality rate in North Carolina doubled since 2019, exacerbated by the global pandemic. And whereas 1 in 3 babies in Durham County are birthed to Black women, and whereas Black women nationwide, regardless of income or education level, are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from preventable pregnancy-related complications, and whereas research demonstrates that the services of diverse birth workers, health advocates, community organizations, and healthcare providers are a crucial component of eliminating disparities, enhancing Black maternal safety, and improving birth and health outcomes. And whereas we recognize and uplift community-based responses to addressing this crisis, and we recognize and we promote initiatives that reduce Black maternal morbidity and mortality, such as doula services, midwifery services, peer support, mutual aid, and mental wellness support. And whereas Black women deserve to have beautiful, safe pregnancy and birth experiences with access to care of their choice through being empowered and resourced to make informed decisions based on their needs. And whereas Black Maternal Health Week was founded by the Black Mamas Matter Alliance to increase awareness around the state of Black maternal health and promote activism and investment in solutions. And whereas attention and action is needed to improve Black maternal health outcomes in Durham and across North Carolina, now therefore I, Netta Alam, Chair, and on the behalf of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim April 11th through the 17th, 2024 as Black Maternal Health Week in Durham, North Carolina, this the 8th day of April 2024.
Thank you so much. And we have 2 special guests receiving this. I see Kathleen Lockwood, Chair of the Durham Women's Commission, but if you also want to introduce your guest as well.
Hello, I'm Ruby Holmes, immediate past chair of the Durham County Women's Commission. Our chair, Kathleen Lockwood, cannot be here, but will be presenting on her behalf.
And hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Kirsten Bethay, and I'm also here representing the Durham County Women's Commission.
Good evening, County Commissioners, County Manager, and the Durham community. On behalf of the Durham County Women's Commission and our chair, Kathleen Lockwood, we'd like to emphasize that Black maternal health is of essential importance to women, girls, and all people in Durham. Held annually on April 11th through the 17th, Black Maternal Health Week is a week-long campaign founded and led by the Black Mamas Matter Alliance to build awareness, activism, and community building to amplify the voices, perspectives, and lived experiences of Black mamas and birthing people. The week is intentionally held during National Minority Health Month and begins on April 11th annually to join dozens of global organizations in marking this day as International Day for Maternal Health and Rights, an opportunity to advocate for the elimination of maternal mortality globally. The Women's Commission unanimously and enthusiastically supports this proclamation as it meets our charge to educate the community and advise the Durham County Commissioners on women's issues and advocate to improve the lives of and opportunities for all women in Durham.
Additionally, on behalf of Joy Spencer, the Executive Director of Equity Before Birth, a Durham nonprofit, and our partners in this work, we'd like to thank the Board of County Commissioners for recognizing Black Maternal Health Week again and for all of the efforts that are being done to support maternal health. Equity Before Birth is a local nonprofit tackling birth inequity through an unprecedented approach of sponsorship, partnership, and fundraising by providing financial support to Black birthing mamas, as well as providing essential baby needs, such as diapers, car seats, prenatal vitamins, and covering the cost of supportive services, such as doula services, breastfeeding support, and childbirth education. We are looking forward to future opportunities for collaboration, and we'd also like to ask the community to come out to Equity Before Birth's dance party in celebration of Black Maternal Health Week on Friday, April 12th, at the Museum of Life and Science from 4 p.m. until 7 p.m. Additionally, you can follow at Equity for Birth or at Equity Before Birth on social media for more information. In addition to that event, the Women's Health Awareness event is also this Saturday on April 13th, beginning at 8 a.m. at Hillside High School. And we encourage the community to come out and get free health information, health screenings, and much more. We also would like to ask that you follow Durham County Women's Commission 2020 on social media for additional information. To close, I just want to state that the acknowledgement of this week is not just a symbolic gesture, but it is really a call to action. And we want to say thank you all.
Thank you all so much for bringing this proclamation to us and also for your service on the Durham Women's Commission. And please send our greetings to the entire board and thanks to all of them for this work. And I know we'll have to make sure that we send an email to Commissioner Howerton because she is one to not miss a dance party. And if we don't tell her about this, she will probably be upset. But I'd also want to ask if you can, your comments, I want to make sure that we get them in our minutes and on our announcements. If you can provide them also to our clerk so she can make sure that they're published and shared for the different events that you're having to celebrate this week. I think that'd be really great. And just the importance of Black maternal health. I know Vice Chair Burns has been raising this every opportunity she has, and it's a priority for all of us as a board. But really grateful that our Women's Commission is also raising and elevating it as well for us out in the community. Thank you. Colleagues have any? Vice Chair Burns?
I just want to throw out, when I first got on this board, I remember somebody asked a question about Black maternal health, and I looked at the past 3 budgets before I got on the board, and I can't remember the page number. I can remember the page number back in the day, but I'm getting old. But it actually showed, this disparity between African American women and white women right here in Durham, and we had not put any money towards it, so I couldn't elevate that during an election and not make a point to elevate it here. And I just want to say I'm happy that I was heard sitting up here with these women. We have done some hard work. There's still work to be done, but I'm really proud of the fact that we put more money into blood pressure cuffs. I can think I had a very close friend to pass away, and I have been pushing and fighting about getting a sonographer after Roe v. Wade, and I was not here, but Commissioner Carter, in my absence, she was like, well, now listen, Commissioner Burns is not playing about this sonographer for Black maternal health. So even in my absence, like these women, they continue to elevate and talk about these issues. We've added more nurses. We've invested in culturally competent nonprofits to do this work. That means a lot to us because it is scary going into a hospital. I've made no qualms about it. I had to have 18 fibroids removed. It was not until I was looking at a doctor that looked like me that I was diagnosed correctly, and it was not until I was looking at a doctor that looked like me that I could get a surgery in Durham. And I'm a pretty privileged woman in this community. And so that's saying something. I don't know what it's like when you walk in there and you're not wearing the cloak that I wear. So it is something I'm passionate about. It's something I entrust these women to continue to be passionate about. The other thing I want to throw out, I do know that we usually share posters, but the event that you all did mention, I know that it's the NIEHS, I think, the National Institute of Environmental Health. So it's a federal agency along with the Deltas in Durham and Durham at Central. There's a registration. So when you send it to us, and I think I have the link, I will send it to Monica, because don't be like me, y'all. I went to the event last year. They was like, yes, what is your name? And I was like, Jane Doe. And so, it's an 8 to 5, and they do screenings, but so that we can be respectful. There is a registration for that one, if I'm not mistaken. But thank you for you ladies bringing this forward, and I'll continue to carry this mantle, and it's not one that I plan on putting down even when I vacate this seat. So thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much. And that brings us to the end of our ceremonial items. We had a lot to celebrate this month, and it's just beginning. That brings us to our consent agenda. These are items that we've, reviewed in our work session that we had last week before, whenever that was. I'm going to see if there's any items that should be pulled. I will be asking to pull 24-0113. That's the first item, because we'll have to vote on that separately, because Commissioner Carter will have to abstain. Wait, no. Not from that one. No, 24-1093, sorry, which is the, let me read it off. Yeah, I put my sticky note on. That's the Arts Council one. There you go. The approval of interlocal agreement between City of Durham and Durham County government to use ARPA funds to support culture and arts recovery efforts totaling $1 million. So we'll pull that item and vote on it separately. And then.
And I do have a quick question on 24-0196, because actually both of these were added since our work session. So I do have a quick question on that one.
Okay. Do you want to, is it like very
I can ask very quickly,
okay.
Yes. My question was just, well, first of all, I'm really excited. Thank you to Claudia, her staff, for getting this on our agenda. The first one being about using ARPA money to support our local artists and our cultural arts master plan. And then the second one is $750,000. The first one, $1 million. And the second one, $750,000 for our home repair programs. My question was just about how will referrals be made for the program, and I'm just wondering about the role that Adult and Evening Services, Durham Center for Senior Life, Age Friendly Durham, whether there's going to be the ability, how the referral process will work for our low-income seniors. Homeowning seniors.
Yes. So we will be partnering with the Central Pines Regional Council. They'll be the sub-grantee to administer the program. They currently operate a couple of different home repair programs that they have kind of an established outreach and recruitment network for, but we can certainly work with them to supplement their existing processes with referrals from other departments within the county.
I would definitely want to lift up our Adult and Aging Services, because they're also running our low-income homeowner grant relief program. So they are now doing counseling with folks in that program, and so they would know, they can also refer people, because that's what they're trying to do, is connect people to other resources and find out what their barriers are. So I would especially want to make sure that they are included.
We'll ensure that the connection is made between CPRC.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
And the council. And we'll also make sure that we are clearly publicizing on our communication channels the ways that interested folks can also reach out to gauge eligibility and participation in the program.
Great. Thank you so much.
I would also like, I'm sorry.
No, don't say sorry to me. I just want to throw out, it for everybody, it does take time sometimes to bring things forward. This was discussed, and because I remember I asked a question during work session. We discussed it 2 work sessions. I know 2 work sessions are going in, one before that, and we were just trying to get the application straight with Central, because I had a similar question. So I do want the public to know, this is the second time it's been brought up. We go out of our way to not put things on this agenda that we have not discussed publicly, but it is proof positive on camera that we did discuss this one, because I had a similar question. But go ahead, Claudia. I'm sorry.
No, what I was going to say is that we appreciate the board working with us in the pace in which we've gone. We went a couple of different routes. At first, we were looking at doing an RFP. John actually brought the idea of partnering with Central Pines. By doing that route, it saves us a lot of time. They already have the infrastructure in place so they can hit the ground running. I believe one comment was close to 5 or 6 months we're shaving off. So that is what good governance is about. And throughout this whole process, that's what we've tried to work towards doing. So thank you, board members, as you've helped us shape this transformative investment of ARPA dollars.
Thank you so much. That That leaves us with only one item to pull. So I will ask for approval of the consent agenda, excluding item 24-1093.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay. The consent agenda, besides that one, is approved. And now that brings us to our pulled items from the consent agenda. So I will ask for approval of consent agenda item 24-1093.
So moved.
Okay. Moved by Commissioner Jacobs, seconded by Vice Chair Burns. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Madam Chair, I have to.
Oh, yes.
I'd like to abstain based on some general statute that requires me to do so.
Any abstentions?
I abstain.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes 3-1-0. And our consent agenda is approved in totality, and that will move us to the end of the meeting. Making sure, I'm flipping through to make sure we don't have anything else I'm missing. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Commissioner Carter, you didn't have to abstain from that. Any opposed? Okay. We are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.